Before this video begins, I would like to give a quick thank you to my Asban Team level patrons Fallon Cortez and Nathan Gibson. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Hello everybody and welcome back to another Doctor Who Series 1 lore video. Series 1 is notable for how Earth-centric it was. It's the only series of the modern show to be entirely set on or around Earth, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have some brilliant settings for its episodes. Probably my favourite of these is Satellite 5, or as it's also known, the Game Station. Satellite 5 first appeared in The Long Game, before making its surprising reappearance in Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways. This space station not only has a really cool and striking design in my opinion, it also has a lot of interesting details and lore elaborated upon in later media. From a Cyberman incursion in the station's early days to its ultimate demise, this is the full story of Satellite 5, and of course beware spoilers for the following stories. Before we talk about Satellite 5 itself, I think it's important to touch upon the planet it orbited and the wider empire it served as a symbol for. In The Long Game, we're introduced to the fourth great and bountiful human empire. This was a period where Earth was supposedly at its height, with its influence spread across 1 million planets and 1 million species. Earth itself was covered in endless megacities and had a population of roughly 96 billion, along with 5 artificial moons alongside the natural one we all know and love. Now, a megacity is rather obviously a massive city. Think of something like Coruscant or Night City. Sprawling cities filled with a much bigger population than they can realistically handle. According to the 9th Doctor, the fourth great and bountiful human empire was meant to be a flourishing society with millions of species, good manners, fine food, cutting edge technology and mankind in the middle. Although, as we all know, the reality was pretty much the opposite because of the Daleks and the Jagra Fest messing with the timeline and the development of humanity. Satellite 5 was one of the iconic features of the fourth great and bountiful human empire, serving as a hallmark symbol as it orbited Earth. It's never been revealed when the satellite was actually built or launched, but we know it went live in the year 199,909. Satellite 5 was made to seem like a technological marvel for humanity, innocently controlling all of the media output from one single location. Of course, this shining reputation was always a farce, designed to distract humanity from the corruption and dark secrets it was hiding from the planet below, allowing the controllers to manipulate the whole of Earth into gleeful ignorance and blind subservience. In terms of the physical structure of Satellite 5, it was a huge station capable of accommodating millions of people, and it was reinforced against meteors, with the powerful material known as Hydra combination used in its construction. Just don't expect it to be able to survive any Dalek attacks. More impressive, however, were the Asbantium-lined lift shafts described in the novel Extraction Point. These panels weren't as thick as the wall in Heaven Sent, but they were still sturdy and dense enough to do their job. There were 500 floors on Satellite 5, with floor 0 serving as arrivals and departures, and floor 500 the management floor run by controllers. However, we do know about a few of the other floors in the middle thanks to the main episodes and also expanded media. Of course, these floors are mentioned across different eras of the station, so their purposes most likely changed throughout that time. Floor 16 was the surgical level where Adam Mitchell got his implant. Big Brother was broadcast from 10 floors including floor 56. Floor 407 saw the broadcasting of The Weakest Link, and What Not to Wear was broadcast from floor 56. The Visual Dictionary claims that Floor 247 specialised in lifestyle programming and that there were several main residential floors too. Oh, and Extraction Point reveals that Floor 333 is a karaoke bar, so that's pretty fun. Floor 139 had a food court as we see in the beginning of The Long Game. At that point in the Empire's history, the food court served junk food like Zafik drinks and Kronk burgers. Although the game Hidden Mystery suggests that the food court also served Venusian seafood and moonweed tacos, along with there being a robo-food bistro stall. The game also shows the station to have a repair bay, medical bay and security rooms, along with the food court having a fully fledged drinks bar. But of course, the most important floor on the entire station was floor 500, where everyone wanted to be promoted to, even though those who were conveniently disappeared immediately after. You know, I'm sure that's just a coincidence, nothing to worry about there. Floor 500 in the Long Game era is a prime example of propaganda. Rumours of gold floors making it seem like this incredibly desirable and perfect place to work in. According to the Time Traveller's Almanac, it was also rumoured to contain marble toilets, double beds, and 15 different food menus, along with the staff supposedly having lead positions on the satellite. However, However, as we see in the long game, the truth is much darker, with the floor actually being cold and abandoned aside from its enslaved zombie-like workers. Makes you wonder if the walls are made of gold was actually just a game of telephone stemming from bloody hell it's cold. The Doctor's first encounter with Satellite 5 took place in the long game, but the earliest the Doctor visited the station was actually within the year it supposedly began operation. The game Hidden Mystery sees the 13th Doctor and Yaz arrive on Satellite 5 when they're chasing the Paradox Cloud. They meet a repair shop worker called Mia and help her to restore the controls of the station in time to protect it from a meteor crisis. However, it then turns out that the Paradox Cloud was converting people into Cybermen, with everyone on the station forcefully converted or deleted. The Doctor and Yaz work out that the Paradox Cloud was being transmitted from the station, and a Cyber Telosian had been hooked up to cores on floor 500, causing all those station-wide conversions. This Cyberman was the subject of an experiment, and he forces the Doctor to disable him, reverting everyone on the station back into people and freeing Satellite 5 of the Paradox Cloud for good. Weirdly enough, despite the game placing these events at the year 199,909, there are implications of it being during or after the game station era, which is a bit confusing and contradictory. But since the game explicitly labels it as 199,909, we'll stick with that. Around the year 199,909, after the Paradox Cloud incident, the mighty Jagra Fest of the Holy Hadrajasic Maxarodinfo was installed into the ceiling of floor 500 as part of the Dalek Emperor's scheme to keep the human race ignorant and passive. The station contained every piece of information within the Empire, even sensitive details like birth certificates, shopping habits, and bank statements. Man, if only I still had that Nord sponsorship, it would be perfect time for an ad. Satellite 5 was responsible for broadcasting 600 channels of constant news reports, with personnel gathering, writing and selling the news using their horrifying brain chip technology. Seriously, who would actually want this? This level of control manipulated the Empire in subtle ways, shifting the social, economic and technological growth to make the entire human race more xenophobic and isolationist. The puppet leader of this operation was the editor, who just seemed to be a guy. Yeah, there's no deeper lore or secrets, he's just kinda there. His boss, the Jagra Fest, was a huge gelatinous slug blob thing with a very eloquent way of speaking. Couldn't have put it better myself. The Jagra Fest apparently had a lifespan of 3,000 years, and his metabolic rate was the reason the whole of floor 500 was kept so cold. Around 91 years after the Jagra Fest was, glued to the ceiling, the 9th Doctor, Rose and Adam Mitchell rocked up to soak in the sights as we see in the long game. One of the first people the Doctor and his companions encountered on Satellite 5 was Suki McRae Cantrell, who was actually Ava St. Julien, the last known operative of the Freedom Foundation. This was a group of militant anarchists who knew something wasn't right with Satellite 5, and Ava infiltrated the station to prove that it was being manipulated by outside sources. She adopted the name Suki and crafted a clever backstory claiming she was from the Independent Republic of Morocco and that she was taking the journalist job to cover her sister's university fees. Suki seemed to be friends with colleague Kathika Santini Kadini, who was also a journalist working on the station. When Suki was promoted to floor 500 and killed by the editor, Kathika decided to help the Doctor investigate the truth behind the station, making her own way to the top floor. With the Doctor and Rose held captive, it was actually Kathika who saved the day and destroyed the Jagra Fest by raising the temperature. Despite Suki being dead and puppeted by a chip implant, enough of the freedom fighter remained and she was able to stop the editor from escaping, leading to his death. After the liberation of Satellite 5, Kathika remained on the station, hoping to return a sense of journalistic integrity to the Empire and its news gathering. Almost instantly after the death of the Jagra Fest, all the news channels closed down and plunged Earth into anarchy due to a loss of communications, collapsing governments and the wider economy as a whole. However, despite this, Satellite 5 seemed to thrive under the leadership of Kathika, who became director in the year 200,003. The novel Extraction Point reveals that Kathika's influence led to the Empress of Earth decreeing to improve the quality of entertainment throughout the Empire, with dedicated entertainment staffers wearing the colour turquoise to denote their role. To quote the book, fine dining, karaoke and multiculturalism seemed to be thriving on Satellite 5. Even if Earth itself was suffering, Satellite 5 therefore seemed to be thriving at this point. Unlike the previous leadership, Kathika was willing to spend time with her people and even mingle with them for parties. At this point in the station's history, the assassin Doom arrived on floor 333, tasked with killing an ethereal being during her mission to find the Doctor. It was here that she met the middle-aged eccentric man Andrei Kolekvo, who was a television producer in charge of documentaries and the popular show Ghost v Whatever, which was produced by the Telerik TV company, which was located on floor 267, Office Suite 6. Ghost v Whatever was a program where volunteers are recruited to encounter ghosts, like former acquaintances or old lovers, with closure being the main goal. However, in typical Satellite 5 fashion, this closure is actually the killing of said ghost. Because of course it is, the game station had to start from somewhere after all. The studio set of Ghost v Whatever was on floor 500, which still maintained its chilly atmosphere for a sense of horror, along with the skeletal remains of the Jagra Fest and the dead workers. Kolevko seemed to be familiar with the Lesser Order of Oberon, the group Doom worked for, and he offered to help Doom hunt the ethereal being, only to turn on her because of course he did. Kolekvo wanted to kill Doom for the spectacle of it, hoping for billions of viewers to tune into the deaths of Doom and the Ghost. However, Kolevko seemingly died during these events, so after escaping, Doom was wanted by both security forces and 3 major broadcasters, the latter of whom were offering a huge fee for an interview and the rights to her life story. To the public, Kolevko mysteriously died in a gruesome fashion, being skinned alive with only a single organ remaining and the rest mysteriously missing. However, the truth was that he was actually being used as a skin suit by the Slitheen and most likely died long before he even commissioned Ghost vs Whatever. It was all part of some planet cracking Asbantium mining scheme, but that's not relevant right now. Despite Satellite 5 seemingly thriving under the control of Kathika, things in the Empire only worsened as the economy continued to collapse. By the year 200,080, the government downfall had led to the Great Atlantic Smog Storm. According to the Time Traveller's Almanac, the specific cause of the smog storm was planet-wide pollution increasing to lethal levels, making it incredibly dangerous to go outside. In fact, it was so bad that everyone was confined to their homes, having to rely on news flashes to tell them when it was safe to leave. This confinement only worsened things, leading to Satellite 5 becoming the game station to provide easy and perverse entertainment to the masses down below. At some point before the year 200,100, the Bad Wolf Corporation took control of Satellite 5 and the Daleks installed the Controller, a blind 5-year-old human girl, into floor 500. The Controller was essentially enslaved and forced to monitor the transmissions of the stations, which were mainly game shows and reality TV. These shows were a very dark glimpse into the dystopian nature of the Earth Empire at this time. Contestants were chosen against their will and forcefully transmatted to the station to take part in these games, which were almost all based on 20th and 21st century Earth shows. The episode Bad Wolf names some of these shows as Big Brother, which had 10 houses on the station, one airing on channel 44,000, The Weakest Link, What Not to Wear, Call My Bluff, Countdown, Stars in Their Eyes, Ground Force, Bear With Me, and Wipeout. All of these shows had sinister twists, usually revolving around the seemingly gruesome deaths of those taking part. The joke book Knock Knock Who's There elaborates on some more of these TV shows, such as My Hazmat Suit Has a Rip in It, Get Me Out of Here, The Great British Takeoff, Just a Minute, Holmes Under the Hammer, Through the Keyhole, Bargain Hunt, Strictly Comet Dancing, Only Connect, and Have I Got Killer Robots for You? And yet, despite all of this, Ant and Dec were probably still winning their yearly NTA award. Along with all the horrifying and deadly game shows, the Empire ruled with an iron fist. In a move that would make the current UK government blush with envy, TV licenses were now mandatory and evading payment was punishable by death, even though channels had adverts anyway. However, interestingly, the game station seemed to be covered by its own laws, with the ability to punish criminals by exiling them to the moon's lunar penal colony without trial. This was a prison colony that had existed as far back as the 26th century, although the Doctor managed to escape being sent there again when he was arrested on the game station. Indeed, after the 9th Doctor, Rose Tyler and Captain Jack Harkness were forcibly transmatted onto the game station to compete in the shows, they discovered the truth of the secret Dalek plan. Instead of contestants being disintegrated, they were actually being teleported to Dalek ships where they would be harvested for genetic material in order to rebuild the race after the Dalek Emperor escaped the Time War. The Emperor had been puppeting humanity for at least a century, hiding their transmissions within the signals of the space station and using the TV broadcasts to hide their fleet of 200 ships as they rebuilt in secret. Of course, what followed was the Battle of the Game Station, where the now exposed Dalek fleet attacked both the space station and the planet below. The Doctor had managed to ensure the evacuation of the majority of the people on the satellite, but 108 remained, with a fraction of that amount agreeing to defend the game station from the Dalek army, while the Doctor built a Delta Wave to destroy the fleet. However, everyone defending the station died, including Captain Jack Harkness, with the Daleks only being destroyed when Rose became the Bad Wolf entity and turned the entire invasion force into dust, including the Emperor himself. As we see in Parting of the Ways, the Doctor took the energy of the Time Vortex out of Rose's body to save her, but regenerated as a result, leaving the game station before the resurrected Captain Jack could reach the TARDIS. Indeed, as the Bad Wolf entity, Rose somehow managed to bring Captain Jack back to life and inadvertently made him immortal. Big Finish's story, The Year After I Died, shows us a glimpse of what happened to Jack after the massacre of the game station, the former companion the only survivor of the battle. He made his way to Earth, which had been ravaged by the Dalek assault, entire continents destroyed due to the bombings. Despite the Daleks being defeated and Earth being liberated, the planet was a wasteland with little hope of salvation. Traumatized after what happened, Jack would refuse the limelight as the hero of the game station, choosing to instead live a reclusive life in a small cabin near the ruins of the Black Country Dome for a whole year. However, in Earth's darkest hour, it would once again turn to its familiar symbol in the sky, Satellite 5, which was combined with starliners and freight ships to form the new structure, Tria Station. This was the base of the Hope Foundation, a charity founded by Vorticia Tria in the aftermath of the Dalek invasion of Earth in 200,100. The Hope Foundation claimed to help the remaining humans relocate off Earth and forge a new life, although much like Floor 500 all those years ago, nobody ever heard back from these resettled people again. Suspicious of the Hope Foundation, aspiring reporter Silo Crook sought out Jack Harkness, despite journalism not being a priority on the broken and devastated Earth. Despite his reluctance, Jack was also suspicious of the Foundation, and the pair teamed up to board Tria Station. Here they found out the truth that the Hope Foundation was a front for a rich elite of humans living in the space beyond, always looking out for themselves and exploiting the desperate Earth refugees however they saw fit. So basically, it was just a huge human trafficking ring. Doctor Who is fun! After Jack and Silo uncovered the truth of Tria Station, Vorticia was overthrown by her subjects and betrayed by her downtrodden personal assistant Gorky Sachs, whom she had constantly abused. Sachs used the uprising as an opportunity to remove his boss's eyes and access her great wealth, ensuring a better life for himself. However, despite Vorticia being stopped and her scheme foiled, the revolt caused Tria Station to lose orbit, Jack having to electrocute himself to land the station safely, therefore discovering his ability to revive after death. With Tria Station safely landed on Earth, Satellite 5 finally achieved its supposed goal of benefiting humanity, with the abundance of resources salvaged, allowing humanity to rebuild itself, instilling hope within Captain Jack, and with the dismantling of Tria Station, thus ends the tale of Satellite 5. The long game and Parting of the Ways couldn't be any further apart in fan reception. One is a heavily disliked episode seen as a weak link in the series, and the other is often heralded as one of the best stories in the entire modern Doctor Who era. However, I think people should give Satellite 5 a bit more credit as the setting of both of these stories. It's a fantastic location full of interesting lore and dynamics. I really love it. I think it's a brilliant example of how the Doctor can meddle with the timelines even inadvertently, since defeating the Jagra Fest only made things worse for the fourth great and bountiful human empire. The Dalek Emperor was masterminding the whole operation, and it created some great, albeit surface level, socio-political commentary about propaganda, news manipulation, and the dangers of cheap reality show entertainment. Satellite 5 is a dark symbol of an all too likely future for humanity, and it's a setting ripe for more stories like the one we've seen in expanded media. From its beginning as Satellite 5 to its dismantlement as Tria Station, this simple yet incredible space station has proven to be a bit of a dark horse when it comes to recurring Doctor Who settings, and I think that should definitely be celebrated. It's a beautifully designed and realised set, and even though it was reused for purely budgetary reasons, the return in Bad Wolf absolutely made sense and provided the perfect backdrop for a series-long arc and a phenomenal finale. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about Satellite 5 and its timeline. I hope you liked this video, or at the very least, you learned something new. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. And I'd just like to quickly thank my Bantam level patrons, Fallon Cortez and Nathan Gibson, my Diamond level patron, Glenna Clark, my Platinum level patrons, Matthew Burns and Maximilian Foreman, and all my Gold level patrons, Boots, Daniel Shillito, Francois aka Lan Vortex, Leigh Marie Farrell, and Tom Azar. Thank you so much for your support.